Welcome back to Whiteboard Wednesday. My name is Mike Cromwell.
I'm Brian DeVault.
And today we're here to talk about the 8th tenet of project management. So for those who have been tuning in, thanks so much for tuning in and watching the episodes about project management. We've gotten some great feedback from those watching, and we're now on the home stretch. So we're talking about today the 8th tenet, which is handing off to long-term support. So all your team's hard work and efforts are completed at this point. You're about to go do the victory lap, so walk us through the victory lap.
All right, so basically this is the part where we're transitioning from the project team to the operations team, or the people that are actually going to deliver the service, right? So from a project perspective, we've got to make sure that we've got a few things established. So we got to make sure, number one, that the client knows how to request support. What is that process like? Is it web-based? Is it email-based? Is it telephone-based? Is it all the above? They need to know all of those things and make sure that they're clear and they have a document that outlines that process. They're going to want to communicate that internally, right? So they want to communicate that via email or via hard copy or what have you, so that all their staff knows how to request support. So very important. Also, I'm going to jump down to dates real quick. So the date has to coincide with the communication about how to request support, right? So if you're sending out a company-wide communication or distribution that says, hey, on Friday at 5 o'clock, we're going to transition to a new support organization. Here's how you contact them, right? Makes sense? So one of the other things we're going to want to do is review our weekly and monthly meeting requirements. So who's going to continue to meet once we enter into long-term support, and what's that frequency? How often are they going to meet? What is the topic of conversation? Those types of things. So we're definitely going to want to review the long-term reporting requirements. So anything like performance to SLA reports, anything that's automatically produced, we're going to want to establish that, figure out who's going to receive that from the client's perspective. If there's a service delivery manager also reviewing that, make sure that they're getting copies of it and so forth. And then we're going to want to review any regularly occurring procedures. So anything that happens frequently, like onboardings and offboardings of end users is a good example of that. And again, want to make sure our dates are clearly defined so that everybody understands on this day, at this time, this organization is now supporting us and no longer submit requests to the previous entity.
So I got a question for you. So internally, what kind of communication happens within your team to prepare that team and contacts of the team to be ready to execute?
So internally, back a little bit further up in the process, the project management process, we've gone through staff trainings, right? So we've brought our staff up to speed on this client's environment, what their requirements are from a support perspective, the scope of work. Are we supporting just desktops? Are we supporting the infrastructure, servers, cloud-based assets, whatever it may be? So they've been trained at this point and they understand what the scope is. So internally, we send out, we use Microsoft Teams, but internally we send out a note during the go live period that says this client is now live and eligible to receive support.
Well, there you have it, folks. Brian DeVault's team is a team of rock stars. They're doing implementations at warp speed and unlike I think I've ever seen in this business. Big, hefty, complex projects. And if you haven't watched the prior episodes, make sure you go back and check out the 8 tenets of project management. But for those that want to learn how companies do it right, follow his guidance. So thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you on next week's Whiteboard Wednesday. And if you have comments, leave them below. And if you have suggestions for future Whiteboard Wednesday topics, we're all ears, send them in, and we'll talk about them. Thanks for joining.